I don't consider myself a great tool reviewer because I'm not all that fussy about a tool that works. That's my primary criteria, is that the tool works. The details around ounces and fuel consumption and things like that are interesting to me, but really incidental to whether or not the tool does the job when I need it to do the job. So I've got chainsaws. I've been using chainsaws since I was 9. I've probably run 24 individual saws, quite a lot, 5 or 6 of them, a whole lot. And so that's sort of my chainsaw background. I use them, or have used them, for everything, even for some things which I wouldn't advise, and in the rearview mirror I think, dumb, but I survived it. With that sort of as the broad general declaration of why you have any reason to listen to me talk about this Stihl MS251. This is the saw that's available to me when I come to Arizona, because Nate bought it 3 years ago, I think. I've used it maybe for 2 hours, something like that, run a couple tanks of gas through it. In broad strokes, it's a Stihl. I love Stihl. My favorite saw, my all-time favorite saw, is my Stihl 044. Great saw, a completely different animal than this. So here's what I like about this little saw, besides the fact that it's a Stihl. I like the power to weight ratio. It's light. I mean, you can use this thing, but it's not so light that you feel like it's going to fly apart or jump back in your face for no reason. So that's good. The chain brake is easily activated. I mean, it's right there, and it can be operated with one hand easily. I like the fact that it's got a fully articulated dog. You see that? Some small saws just have 2 or 3 little bumps there, and they're just completely, they're a joke. But this has got a scaled down version of Stihl's dog orientation. That's important. If you're cutting any firewood or any wood pieces of some heft, you got to have a good set of dogs. This has got a good dog. I like the fact that it's got Stihl's classic access for chain loosening and tightening. That's important for reasons that we'll describe sometime in a tree falling application especially. But it's just more convenient to be able to loosen and tighten the bar from there rather than having to go in right there. If you ever walk up to the chainsaw with the intention of either buying or not buying it, and the chain tightener is in here, walk away. There's no reason to ever buy a saw anymore where you have to get back in there to tighten it. I like the access and the sort of ergonomic aspects of having the on-off and choke switch right there under my right thumb. Different makers have them in different places. That's the spot. And here's what I really like, besides the fact that it's made in the USA, is this little innovation. Look at that for a cool little adaptation on the cap. Bam, bam. You don't have to, think you need a pair of channel locks to get it off there if it's sort of swelled up or you over-tightened it. You don't need to be finding your saw tool to put it in the slot and pop it loose and then flare that out and it gets worn and you think, wow, is that cap going to split? It's just bam, bam. Same on the oil. So way to go, Stihl. That's a plus. The other thing that I like about this saw is reliability. This saw works and then sits on the shelf in the Arizona heat for months. And then it works, then it's back on the shelf. And it's on the shelf and off the shelf. And when you pick it up, it starts. So, I mean, that's the big plus, right, that the saw starts. Now, here's the things that I'm not as crazy about. And the first of these goes both ways. Some people would love the fact that the vibration dampening system is extreme. I mean, they've gone to great lengths to reduce the vibration that you're feeling in your hands. That's good if you are sensitive to chainsaw vibration, or you're going to be using it for days and weeks and months and years, and you're going to get the nerve damage that can happen from vibration in your hand. But for me, on this little light saw, which I'm going to be using kind of for detail work, it doesn't feel like a positive connection between my hands and the point of contact. Perhaps it's my imagination, but I don't feel like I can tell quite as distinctly what's going on right down there where the power is being discharged against the work. So still, that's a little overkill on vibration dampening, in my humble opinion. The other thing that bothers me just a little is there's a little too much flex in that switch. I mean, I don't know if they need to increase the cross section of the switch itself, or I don't know, but it just feels a little spongy. And that's it. I have nothing else to say in the negative column, and the positives far outweigh the negatives, and the price is good, and you can get parts, and people know how to work on these. If you need a little chainsaw, I don't know how you could do any better than the Stihl MS251. Thanks for watching.